It's hard to contain your excitement when you get something you've really wanted. Like the gold standard in automotive protection, WeatherTech floor liners. With deep sculpted channels and laser measured for total protection in the front, back, and even up the sides.
Dad, you're going viral.
What? WeatherTech me.
So don't be shy, enjoy. Order your premium American-made products at WeatherTech.com.
And certainly the Porsche Sprint Challenge USA West by Yokohama Series was no exception. Welcome to Circuit of the Americas. I'm Joe Peak here with Jeremy Scott once again to bring you the action of our second race of the weekend. Jeremy, we saw a great battle for the lead here at COTA, and I'm wondering if we'll get a repeat of that. I mean, that's such a high bar to live up to.
It really is, and I hope that we do see a repeat of this as we take a look on our screens of the track and the action that we've seen this weekend through practice and qualifying and the races. A great battle for the lead, great battle through the middle of the pack, and of course, this is a world-class facility as the drivers are all ready. Of course, they have to deal with the heat as well, like everybody else. A lot of great passing zones, like going into Turn 1, Turn 11, Turn 12, through the stadium section, and Turn 20. So lots of great areas to see. Of course, I always like watching the cars as they navigate through the S's from like Turn 2 all the way over to Turn 7.
Yeah, and we've seen that has been a very difficult area as there's caused a lot of spins through there and even up all the way through Turn 9 as well. So keep an eye on those. It'll certainly be full of action. So it looks like we are going to be checking out what it's like on board as we have actually a lap with Laura Eli.
Hi everyone, it's Laura Eli, driver of the 209 992 GT3 Cup from Black Sheep Racing, here to do a lap around Circuit of Americas for Porsche Sprint Challenge USA West and North America event this weekend. Going down the front straight, going up the hill to turn 1, flat out in 5th gear, hard on the brakes, downshift to 2nd for a left-hander at turn 1. Heading down the hill towards turn 2, upshift to 5th gear, maintain the throttle, and get ready to go to the S's, turns 3, 4, and 5. Try to maintain your control and your power over the S's. Hard right into this turn 6. Maintain your speed into turn 7. Then go into turn 8 as a hard right-hander. Get all the way over to the grass. Back on the gas over the hill in turn 9. Flat as you upshift over turn 10. Down the hill to turn 11. Turn 11 is in a hard left-hander, down hard on the brakes, down to 2nd gear, and then open up, flat out for the longest straight of the circuit. This is a 6th gear flat out, 160 mile an hour plus straightaway. Lots of time to relax on this one. When you get to the brake zone, it's hard on the brakes. Downshift to second for a left-hander, hit the apex. Then you're headed to turn 13, 14, 15, that's a right-hander, 3rd gear. Carry your speed through this next corner, and into 15's a hard left-hander, hard on the brakes, down to 2nd gear, back on the gas. Now it's for the carousel, turn 16, 17, and 18. Maintain your speed through the middle of the corner, double apex, back on the gas on the exit for turn 19. It's a left-hander, go over the curb. Try not to go too far off to the right. For the final corner, downshift to second and left-hander, turn 20. Back on the gas. And that's a lap around Circuit of Americas in Austin, Texas.
Wonderful lap there by Laura Eli, and obviously drivers are already out on their pace lap. So let's go through our starting grid here today, where we can see on screen that Blake McDonald is going to be leading us away. James Lee, who won yesterday, is going to be starting next to him on that front row. You've got Kevin Woods in the 3rd spot, and then Jim Walsh fighting for that Masters category in 4th. After that, you've got Luke French flanked by Reinhold Kron next to him in 5th and 6th position. On to row 4, it is Casey Dennis starting in 7th, Laura Eli next to him. On to row number 5, we've got Joel Cortez starting in the 9th position. Josh Conley will be next to him in P10. Outside of the top 10, Michael Zweiback will be starting in the number 240 and 11th, and Thomas Hacker in the 12th position. Then we get down to our Caymans, and unfortunately only 2 going to be racing here today. We've got Michael Galke in the 99 and Greg Herback in the 49, as I don't believe the 28 of Richard Kenzie is going to be lining up here today. 14 cars out on the track, Jeremy, and thankfully we're still in the morning time, so while it is heating up, it's not as hot as it's going to get later today.
You know, it's not. In the air temperature right now, 85 degrees, track temperature 100 degrees according to our sensors, and what we lack in quantity, we make up for in quality. I'm going to have my eye on Laura Eli as she starts 8th place. We saw how quick she came up through the field yesterday. We'll see what she can do, and it's going to be interesting to see round 2 between McDonald and Lee here in the start of this race. But, Joe, I've got to say this is a very fun racetrack for these drivers. In spite of all the tiredness that they had on the grid, on the Parc Fermé, they were all very happy.
Yeah, and especially James Lee taking his first win of the season. First driver in that Pro-Am class to be able to overtake Blake for the win. The blue cars, the blue numbers that you see on your tower, that's going to be your Masters. And then, of course, the yellow will be our Cayman. Coming around out of the last corner and getting ready to take the green flag. We do have to wait a bit usually because they start on the start line, not on the finish line, which they just crossed there. We wait patiently for them to get going as the flagman getting ready to wave them on up here at the front. And there it is. Green flag is out, and we go racing here at COTA up to the first corner. Blake is not covering that inside very much. The 294 could maybe slip up, and it looks like no. Woods is going to be able to stay in second, though, as James Lee gets overtaken.
I'll take a look at Walsh to the outside. He tried to see if he can make up some spots. He didn't, but James Lee trying to close down Woods. Little wiggle there coming off of turn number 3, but McDonald already starting to run away like a rabbit.
And he knows he needs to because, remember, James chased him down and passed him last time. But is this maybe not the way he wants to go about it as Lee tries to cut underneath Woods for the overall second position? He's not fighting him for class position here, but he needs to get ahead of him so that he can try and go after Blake. And unfortunately, he is just blocked at every corner.
Woods trying to goad Lee into a pass there on the outside. Didn't happen, but they're side by side heading into turn number 10. Looks like James Lee has gotten that pass done, so move Lee back up to second.
French has a front row seat to it as he sees Walsh now trying to get into this. Is Walsh fighting for the Masters lead with Woods, sees a chance to get on the inside, and poor French gets absolutely shoved all the way to the outside of the track on the exit of 11.
And now he opens up a little bit bigger gap between he and the 269 of Walsh. But Walsh, he's got a little bit of defense back there from Ryan Holcron.
Coming down into the braking, Lee is now a ways behind Blake McDonald. We're not even done with the first lap. He goes a little wide there at the apex of turn 12, but it looks like he holds on to it. That has been an action spot all weekend long. Drivers out braking themselves, drivers attempting passes through there, and that just carries on here through the stadium section. And look at the separation. There's Blake and there's everybody else.
Yeah, you see single file so far. The Cayman class there, a little bit well back out of the action, but nonetheless, Blake McDonald, he's gone obviously purple in every sector so far, but he's holding on to a commanding lead early on in the session.
Still, Woods is holding off, it looks like French now, who's managed to get by the likes of Jim Walsh, so he's now got himself a chance to try and go chase after Lee.
Look at that gap between first and second already, 2.6 seconds. But we're watching this race between Walsh and French. Out of class position, but for the overall, look at Walsh going dive into the inside. He's going to try and take Woods there.
Whoa, he went 2 for 1, and he's going to edge his competitor off the track. That's going to give him the lead. We'll see if Race Control has anything to say about that one, but that's going to put him in third overall, as French behind him still trying to get himself past these Masters drivers. Remember, his fight is with Lee and McDonald here.
He was a half second behind Kevin Woods going into turn 1, but here we go for French to the inside of Walsh. That's for overall position, not necessarily class position.
Looks like he's going to get by as Jim is going to slot in behind him. Jim was telling me earlier this week, I'm trying to give you good things to talk about me for this weekend, and I'd say he is right now leading this class, but I think Woods is going to try and take it right back. They're fighting once again down into turn 12 as they come onto the back straight. He's on the outside, but does he have the run?
He has a good run so far, but that's going to give Woods a chance to close in behind them. You've got Reinhold Cron and Josh Connolly side by side. Connolly gets around Cron. He wants a piece of that action for fourth place, but we watch his battle going into turn number 12. Woods to the inside. He's going to try a late braking move, but it's too far away. But Cron to the outside in turn number 12.
Almost contact between Woods and Walsh as well there for the lead. Where did Conley come from? As it looks like behind him, Dennis is going to try and poke his nose into this as well, almost making contact. But remember, Conley was a ways back there, and he is charging forwards early.
And look at Laura Eli as well. She's in the thick of the battle. So far, this battle for third turns into a 5-car battle, maybe even 6.
This is, we said that they had a lot to try and stand up to the excitement that we got last time, but I'd say they're up to the task here as everybody is fighting everybody out there right now. And as they come out of turn 19, Walsh will lead this train, continuing to try and hold back Woods. I'm pretty sure Jim is still looking for his first win this season.
Yeah, Casey Dennis also trying to bob and weave as well. Oh, look who's also come to play. It's Joel Cortez. He sits in 10th place, as now we see the 233 Reinhold Cron trying to hold to the inside, as Laura Eli, she looks inside, now outside, but still too far away to make anything happen in one. But look at this! Almost side by side around the outside. Oh, Cron goes wide.
Dennis is able to hold off Conley, but just barely as he tries to get back inside of him, coming down through turn 2 and into the S's once again. They finally go single file once more. I double-checked. Best we've seen from Jim is a second place once. Otherwise, he hasn't been on the podium other than that.
Yeah, so that's going to be interesting to see what happens with him because Woods, in spite of him being in second place in the Masters class, he's still trying to hold station a little bit further away than we've seen in the past time by. He's 0.6 of a second behind Walsh, but that also kind of contributes to Conley and Dennis also knocking on the door.
French also only has one podium so far this season, so this is looking to be a good one for him, sitting on that podium position in third, but he's losing ground to Lee, who, now that he's finally gotten clear, 1.5 seconds behind McDonald. James seems to have just a little bit of a better handle about this track, even if he doesn't have the qualifying pace.
You know, I thought coming off of turn 11, Joe, that Connolly might have a chance at Woods, but he's really gotten on that loud pedal coming out of turn number 11, really closing up on Walsh there for that battle for the Masters lead.
Interesting stuff, and watch out for Dennis behind them as well as they come around through the stadium section.
Look at Laura Eli going to the outside of Reinhold Kron through that stadium section. She's got the better line going in there. Nice little move there, so move Laura Eli up to 8th place overall.
Nice stuff, and I think, that puts her onto the Masters podium as well. She has a habit of doing that this season. Still looking for that second win, though, in the Masters as she works her way down towards turn 19. She's a bit wide, has to set up, get back across the track here. Could that compromise her?
Oh, we see Dennis trying to look around Connolly for, actually, no, Dennis trying to look around Kron for position? No.
Well, Kron's fighting with
Kron's
Eli
fighting
right now.
Eli.
And that's Cortez
So
behind them.
Dennis, he was fighting for position. Okay.
So Cortez back there in the red machine, the 203 right now behind them, as Reinhold does not defend, and Joel thinks about trying to get himself in there, but isn't able to get the overlap through turn 1. Are we finally settling in now, or are drivers going to keep this up?
You know, I'm starting to wonder that because we're 27 and a half minutes or thereabouts into this race. And taking a look at our little map that we have here, there's still that battle for the lead. You've got 5 cars in one clump, 3 cars in another. So we've got 3 great battles going on here, but we take a look at Michael Gawke as he's leading your Cayman class.
Indeed, it's himself and Herback racing. And again, Herback making continual progress in only his 4th ever professional race, and he's about 2 seconds behind. I think that is a good marker to show that he's continuing to find pace race after race. Also, we talked about James Lee catching McDonald. He set the fastest lap of the race last time at a 2:09.9, and in fact, that was about a half a second quicker than Blake McDonald has done.
Well, we're on board with Michael Gawke, and it's amazing how quick he has been. We've seen, through the paddock, we've seen in pit road that he does have a little bit of limitations, but he still does not let that stop him because he has been nothing but on fire since he got on the property this weekend.
Yeah, it's been great with Michael. He doesn't want to use up too much of his energy, though, we have to remember, because he's going to be part of the Endurance Series a little bit later this afternoon. So he's got some time to rest after this one, but even still, I'd say don't push it too hard and save some in reserve.
Still watching this battle between Walsh and... I'm trying to pick out who that second car is because there's 269 of Walsh. And one of the RWE cars, that's the 274 of Dennis. So it's like Woods may have gotten around Walsh here this past time by.
Interesting.
Oh, look at this interesting battle too. Look who's come up to play with McDonald again. So we're starting to see a repeat of what we saw yesterday, Joe, with McDonald getting a little bit of advantage, but Lee coming up to the front.
Now, it took Lee a few laps before he was able to get by him. And in fact, I think he caught him much later in the race last time. So this is interesting. Now that he's got more time, how does Lee play this one? And is he maybe concerned about using up his tires too much? Because I wonder, with Blake being caught so easily, is he maybe learning lessons from yesterday and saying, okay, let's hold off for a bit and then push hard late in the race and save some tire?
Well, Lee logged the best lap of the race so far with the 2:09.8, so it could be that Lee is just trying to use his tires in a more aggressive fashion. And as we see a little bit of a wiggle by Lee as he comes through turn number 11.
I will say, because I noticed that it doesn't show his best lap as that 2:09.8. It looks like car 255S's lap 4 invalidated. So keep an eye, we'll have to keep an eye on those shortcuts and the track limits there that we're getting messages on. Entertainment and scoring around the outside, though, for James Lee. He's already on the attack.
Yeah, he tried that move last time, and he's going to look to the inside. Not the place you want to be there because of the over-under possibility. Move Lee to the point for now, but McDonald, he's going to try and go around the long way around the stadium section.
Looks like he can't quite hold on, but he could cut back underneath him. You can see the back and forth between these cars in each of these little hairpins. And now he'll be able to get the overlap, but not for long because it is a long triple right-handed apex corner as they come down past the tower, and it's a longer way around, so he loses out.
So once they cross the line, barring any issues through turn 20, James Lee will return back to the point. So it's the second time that McDonald has had a battle for the lead and lost it to the faster Lee. As they come down the front straightaway once again, McDonald tucks in under the rear wing of the 255 of James Lee, your race winner yesterday. Too far away to make anything happen, but I'm also watching this battle for third place overall that we see right back there. And that is French, who's opened up a gap between he and Kevin Woods. Walsh has fallen back once again as Dennis goes to the inside, side by side through turn number 1. But Dennis isn't going to get that position too easily because Woods has the line through 2.
Yeah, and that's going to be important to him because while Dennis is in the Pro-Am and Woods is in the Masters, he wants to try and get up to French. He got a little close there, and I think he has a good opportunity to try and get onto the podium. Cuts back underneath through turn 6. He's got to complete the pass, though, because it switches back to the left into 7.
Yeah, and then, little wiggle there by Dennis, as he tries to go to the outside, and he's going to make it the long way around, but he's got the opportunity set through turn number 9, and he gets it done. So move Dennis up to 4th, and now Woods has to worry about Walsh catching back up to him for another battle for the Masters lead.
Dennis is trying to keep his streak going. He hasn't been off the podium since the very first race at Spring Mountain. Otherwise, he's been in those top 3 every single time, including yesterday. So can he manage to hold on to this and also chase down French and deny him his second podium of the season? Woods just kind of showing himself in the mirrors. But remember, Kevin does not really need to fight Dennis. His main concern is Walsh behind him.
And he's got his eyes set on French. Coming through the stadium section. But look at back there. Oh, a little bit of a lockup from Walsh as he goes in there. And he's going to have Connolly on his passenger door. And Laura Eli is going to come to play as well.
Yeah, and Conley is racing in that Pro-Am, so I'm sure he doesn't want to race him too hard. But again, he probably likes having that tan-colored car between himself and Laura Eli. As we always say, Laura is wicked fast in the races. She's going to try and overtake, but decides against it as they come up to turn 19. If she could manage to get by Conley, then she could go on the attack with Jim.
And Cortez and Cron are even in position to make something happen if one of those drivers makes another mistake, as we have 21 and a half minutes left in this race. It is not lacking for action here at Circuit of the Americas on Sunday morning. Still, James Lee and Blake McDonald, 1-2, as Eli's going to look to the inside of Connolly. Connolly goes a little wide through turn number 1.
Doesn't give the spot up, though, as they switch back into 2. Looks like Laura's going to have to regroup and try again a bit later. But this has helped out Jim tremendously. He's starting to run away from Conley now, so hopefully he can get back on the horse and try and chase down Kevin Woods for that win he's been seeking.
1.4 seconds at the line separating the two Masters drivers, but he's got a hornet's nest behind him of Connolly, Eli, Cron, and Cortez down 7th through 10th right now, as looking to the inside of French's Casey Dennis. Dennis getting all those mirrors for that bottom step of the podium.
Yeah, I think Casey really wants to keep like I said, his streak going. And French looked good at the start, but maybe just dropping back a bit. And also something we haven't touched on, look at the gap between P2 and P3. We're what, on lap 6 or 7 here, and they're already 11 seconds behind.
Well, you have Lee pushing McDonald. Oh, look to the outside as Dennis tries to look around French, and he's going to lose some position track surface-wise because Kevin Woods now knocking on that door as well, but he's able to gather himself back up.
So this is going to be a tough one for French for sure.
Eli trying to go around the outside also of Connolly, but Connolly able to keep that 7th position so far. So we've got two great battles here, the battle for 3rd and the battle for 6th.
And Laura also had Reinhold Cron thinking that maybe he could capitalize on this, so she's got to be careful as there's definitely drivers behind that are eager to try and pick up the pieces if an overtake fails between her and Conley.
Oh, hey, I don't know if you saw timing, but a little bit ago, the 255, our leader, got a warning for track limits.
Yeah, that was, I believe, a couple laps ago that he received that. But honestly, it seems like since then, it's been clear sailing. He's already up to 1.2 seconds ahead of Blake heading into that turn 1. Dennis wants it. French has it as he cuts back underneath. Oh, this might be worth it. It looked like he just got shoved out a tad, and Conley and Eli are still battling side by side.
Well, Laura Eli has gotten around Connolly going through turn number 1, and now she is she's on it. So she has her sights set on Walsh, and that's for the second position. But look at Reinhold Kron. He wants a piece of Connolly to go through the S's.
Laura hasn't won since the very first race at Spring Mountain. So she could maybe get up to Walsh and maybe chase down Woods. It's going to be a bit of an ask because there is a gap there. As Casey finally got this one, he's to the inside down through turn 10, coming into 11. We saw this before, though, Jeremy, that trying to pass into 11 opens you up into 12.
It really does. And, of course, right now, Dennis actually was able to go out high, wide, and handsome to get that position from French. But French, he's in a sitting pretty spot as he'll be drafting off of Dennis. Let's see what he does. We're on board with French as Dennis taking a defensive line going into turn number 12. But it's still a wide track heading into that deep braking zone. Both heavy on their brakes as Dennis loses that position to French.
Wow. French gets it right back. He wants it so bad this time. Just getting a nose to the inside into the stadium section. It looks like Dennis might have a bit. Gets into the back of him slightly twice now.
And look at who that's opening it up for. Kevin Woods. He's closed up the gap between he and Dennis. Again, those three are all battling. Little wiggle. That was a move that Dennis made to get the French. Dennis wants to be on the podium so bad, he'll move somebody out of the way for it. He's lost 2 positions, French has.
I mean, we're in Texas. I guess Rubbin is racing out here, and he just kind of nudged him off the racing line right there. So Woods has got to be careful, though, because Walsh in behind him could be a problem. And, he's already passed. When did he make that overtake? When we weren't looking?
Well, there's so much going on, Joe, that we're missing certain overtakes. There goes Walsh to the inside right now of French, and he's going to get that position, but he's going to lose it in the over-under.
French going to try and get back past him. He wants to chase down Dennis once again. Not going to work, though, as or will it? He's got speed. They're coming up into the S's. I was going to say these are single file. He has to give up the Ghost.
Yeah, he has to give it up. And, he gained position, but he still lost position between he and Woods. He wants that Masters win. But here's the thing. Woods is battling now with Dennis for that third place overall.
Yeah, it's all jumbled up here in the mid-pack, and it involves the battle for the lead in Masters. Unfortunately for those in the Pro-Am, the podium has kind of started to run away. Dennis trying to see if he could gap them, and it looks like he's actually doing so successfully now as we watch them come out of 11.
Well, we see that Walsh getting just a little bit wide. Look at who's behind Walsh. It's Laura Eli in the 209. She's up under that rear wing, and she's going to do all she can to get that front end ahead of Walsh into turn number 12, almost side by side. And we know how low Laura can get that front end, and she's going to get it low there as Walsh trying to go around the outside. He loses 1, maybe 2 positions as Eli takes that second place in Masters.
If there's one thing I've learned about Laura, she's a very smart driver, so she knew exactly where to place that car. And now is going to see if she can catch up to Kevin Woods and get that second win of the season as we ride on board with Jim coming out of the stadium section once again, trying to hold on to her. This could be a good opportunity for him to just take some notes and see if he can pick up the pace.
Well, that gap, though, it's not insurmountable. 15 minutes plus 1 lap to go, but a lot has to happen for Eli to reel in Woods. Let's see what she can do in open air here as she's running about 2:11s, 2:12s here in the middle part of this race. Still have James Lee and Blake McDonald 1 and 2, about 1.6 seconds separate the two of them. Then you got to go back to Casey Dennis in third place with a 16.1 seconds behind. But this is the battle we're watching right now. It's the Laura Eli Walsh French battle for position.
Also, I think that last lap, unfortunately for Jim Walsh, was invalidated. They said track limits there, so he's got to watch out because that was actually labeled as a shortcut. So, and incident between 274 and 215 is under review.
Interesting. So, yeah, those nose-to-tail contacts between Dennis and French under review. So, we'll see what race control has to say about that. I had a feeling that John Maskey and EFR would not look too kindly upon that. We have one
no.
car that is spun
Whoa.
off. That's the 274 of Casey Dennis. So our third place driver at the time has fallen way back in the field.
Well, it's looking highly unlikely that he'll finish on the podium for this one. And if he does wind up with a penalty for that contact, that is going to be insult to injury. Didn't see what caused that. I'm wiping my brow and thanking that we didn't have any cars run into him. He was broadside across the track.
Oh, we got a battle for position between Walsh and French. Walsh trying to hold the line on the inside, and French tried to go look to the outside, thought better of it, but now he's going to try on the outside again, dive to the inside through the stadium section.
Cutting back as he looks for it. Walsh will shut the door back into the right-hander, so falling in line. French will have to try again later. He starts to open up the entry to the left-hander now, but again, can't find any room at the end.
Well, everybody kind of getting single file through the stadium section. As soon as I say that, Reinhold Kron goes to the inside. Looks like that was Connolly that he went to the inside around for position, but Connolly gets that spot back. Let's see if the 233 can still get there. He's sitting fourth in Masters, ninth overall, but now Kevin Woods sits pretty in third place with Laura Eli 2.2 seconds back. This battle for the seventh place between Connolly, Cron, and Cortez is the one we're watching. We'll see if Cron, a little couple headlight flash, just trying to get inside the head of Connolly.
Well, Conley goes defensive, but some of the drivers were saying yesterday that it's a little less bumpy on that inside line, so it actually is slightly quicker sometimes to try and steer it in there a little early. Off the corner, Cron not able to try and overtake the 299, at least this time. The battle rages on. Lee, by the way, has been steadily pulling away from McDonald, but it hasn't been as big of chunks as we saw him reel him in. So I don't know if James is managing his pace now that he's up to the front, or if Blake has picked it up a bit.
Well, they both ran a 2:11, so I would imagine now they're starting to just conserve their tires. They still have plenty of time left from possibly one final run here. But nonetheless, I think now everybody's starting to take a breather, step back, and kind of assess what they need to do for this final bit of the race.
So three-way fight here. This is for seventh overall, but the only two within the Pro-Am class is Conley and Cortez. Cron is trying to get rid of them so that he could go after Walsh. Right now that podium for Masters is seeing Woods on top, Eli second, and Walsh sitting in third. And coming down through turn 12, Reinhold thinks about it once again, but the 233 cannot get beside him.
And this is the battle of the race so far as Reinhold to Cron looking to the inside yet again as he tries to get something through. We just heard from race control that car 274 will receive a 10-second post-race penalty for that contact with Luke French.
That's Casey Dennis, like I said, after him falling to the back of this group. Man, he's going to be hurting here today. It'll be, unfortunately, not the race that he wanted. And coming up to the final corner, Conley doing a fantastic job, I have to say, holding back Cron. Question is, how long can he do it for? Because it looked like Reinhold got a great run there.
As Cron tries to get alongside Dennis, he's on the left rear, and he will get alongside Dennis, get the better braking advantage through turn one, move Reinhold Cron up to seventh place, but for how long? Casey Dennis looks to the inside in turn number two, with Cron able to muscle around him.
Yeah, Conley actually looked like he lost a lot of momentum. Look how quickly Cortez caught him. I think the car just got a little loose on the way down, bounding over some of those curbs. Now he's really got his hands full because Cron getting by doesn't cost him any points, but Cortez, if he overtakes him, that's valuable championship points here.
Speaking of Cron, he just got a warning for track limits as race control says he shortcut. That's his turn 10.
Lap 10.
Yeah, lap 10, sorry. TL, after a while. I'm a broadcaster. I'm not supposed to remember numbers and all that. But regardless, lap 10, that was invalidated, so he got a warning for that. So Cron's just got to play it nice the rest of the race.
I think we finally have a little bit of calm amidst this storm. So I just want to give some love to Galke, who still leads down in the Caymans. The 99 our leader for that class, with Herback running in second, about 18 seconds behind, it looks like, from our tower currently. But no news to update on that.
Oh, we got a problem where Laura Eli stopped in turn number 12, and now she's back underway. So that battle for second place in class looks like that is going to be all for naught for the drive for Laura Eli. And what a shame, too, as we're watching Cortez on the back of Dennis. Cortez on the back of Connolly.
I mean, if she spun on her own to get out there, that's a rare mistake for her. Kind of curious what happened that sent her out into the runoff there at turn 12. But Walsh promoted up to second with that one, and I believe that'll put Cron on the podium too.
Let's see here. Yeah, that would put Cron on the podium because Laura Eli is back underway.
Yep, Walsh now scored P2, and Cron moves up into third. Still unsure. We'll see if we can get some information at some point as to what caused that. But like you said, real shame. And Walsh could try and catch up to McDonald. 7-8 minutes left, really, and he's got 3 seconds. From what I've seen out of Jim today, I don't think he's got the speed. But, I mean, the way that this race has been, you never know.
Yeah, anything can happen. Kevin Woods, though, up at the front, he's really held on to that leader, Leon. And, of course, if it wasn't for a couple of incidents, he would be third on the overall podium right now, which is fantastic. So great to see the Masters drivers coming out to play today.
All right, so coming down to the last few moments in this race. And, again, this is the last of the weekend for the West Series. A few of these drivers will get to take part in the Endurance Series, so they'll have more action coming their way. But as far as scoring points for their regular series that they run week in and week out, this is the last opportunity at COTA.
Yeah, that 1.5 second lead that you see there, a little bit bigger, is James Lee doing his best to gap McDonald even further throughout the field. There's the 99 of Gawkey, or Cayman leader, also trying his best to just come through the race, but nonetheless, what another show of racing here for Lee today. Basically did the same thing that he did yesterday, chased down McDonald and was able to get around him in turn one.
Yeah, last lap it was about 2/10 quicker for Blake McDonald. It's worth noting. They're just going to cross the timing line now, so I'm kind of curious. Oh, wow, so Blake actually lost a ton, 0.8 of a second slower.
Yeah, that's a lot of time. And of course, at this point, because we know that the 208 is going to run in the Endurance Championship today, is it a case of just, save your equipment, let's just fight another day?
That's very true. Yeah, it could be that he's just trying to hold on and make sure that he doesn't give the team too much work to have to turn the car around for the hour-long race this afternoon. Man, wow, what a gap they have put on the field, though. 21 seconds now to Kevin Woods. And that's our Masters leader. That's not our Pro-Am third place. French is still a couple more seconds behind him.
It's still looking pretty good. Everybody, the only race really to watch is for 7th, but everybody's kind of calmed down. We've got 5 minutes plus 1 lap left to go. Still, though, if I'm on the radio and I see, that Connolly-Cortez-Dennis battle, still say, hey, not much time left. So if you want to do something, you might want to do it now.
And this is James Lee on screen, but his teammate, Dennis, I'm very curious to see what's going to happen here, because Dennis has probably got the red mist down now. I'm sure he may have been told about the penalty, but after his mistake, he's caught up to Cortez and Conley. He seems much quicker, so I think that's going to be a fun one.
Yeah, and Dennis has been playing quite nicely. Of course, also he has that 10-second post-race penalty, too, so it's a matter of trying to get ahead of Eli to stay in the top 10. He's got to gain about 6 seconds in these next couple of laps. I don't think it's going to happen, so provisionally I think he's going to be I think he will be 10th. So,
all right, so now less than 5 minutes to go in this race for the USA West by Yokohama Series, and Blake McDonald's still trying to desperately hold on to Lee at the end of this race, just in case he can get a mistake out of James and he can re-inherit that top spot. Kevin Woods, your leader in the Masters, leading James Walsh by about 3 seconds. He's comfortably ahead currently, while Galkey leads your Cayman class. And there he is on screen right now in the orange, white, and gray car.
He's got the 294 of Kevin Woods behind him that he will have to. He'll let by down here on the front stretch, but look at behind Kevin Woods as well. It's Jim Walsh. So this might help Walsh, but knowing Gawke, he's going to let him by here going into turn one.
Yeah, he knows his fight is not with those guys. So, and plus he's got such a big gap down to Herback. I think he's not interested in trying to make any sort of waves here in this group. Watching to see. Okay, yes, they came by, and this is that battle I was talking about. And, Dennis already got Cortez. Again, everything's happening so quick, we didn't even catch that he'd made the pass.
Yeah, so this is going to be an interesting battle here as he tries to catch up to Connolly. And Laura Eli still sitting back there in 8th for anything to happen, really, as now Dennis closes into the 299 of Connolly.
You know, if Dennis didn't have to wait so long on his spin for everybody to safely make it by him, and he could have gotten moving just a bit quicker, I'm getting the sense that he actually could have maybe chased down French here, because right now I think it's about 6 or 7 seconds between them. And the pace that he's running, here he goes already on Conley. Going to try for the inside. Conley, a bit of a late move to defend. Let's see what it looks like coming out of the corner. He's got the inside, but he doesn't have the exit speed.
Yeah, you saw Connolly make a nice tight exit to kind of make the defense, but still, we're going into turn number 12, where that's another zone where I would expect Dennis to make a move, if not pop out. And, he's going to pop out just a little bit, but too far away to make anything happen. He closes in, tight on the binders through 12. Ooh, a little wiggle there from the 299.
This is going to be very close. I think we are 3 to go here. They just crossed the line with about 2:12 left, and they're running 2:10s. So I think Lee and McDonald are going to be on the edge on whether or not they get the white flag or the 2 to go next time by.
I think they're going to get the, let's see where our leaders are. Your leaders just crossed the line, so they will get the white flag next time.
They crossed the line with 2:12 to go, though.
2:12. I didn't see that.
So that's where things get iffy. And James doesn't have the comfort margin that he could try and ease up. So
no.
Yeah.
Oh, look at Dennis trying to go a little wiggle, and I think Gawke slowed everybody down. There goes Cortez to the inside. Eli's also trying to make passes. She made a round. Now we'll see if Cortez is going to be spicy enough to try and go around the inside there in turn one. But Eli, she's going to put the pedal to the metal, go around the inside of Cortez, and she might be able to get that position.
Remember, she's not fighting them for class position and getting his elbows out. Cortez might be a little bit new to this series, but I'd say he's feeling unafraid of going wheel to wheel with some of the bigger names.
Yeah, so Cortez trying to do his best to keep position. Casey Dennis has fallen back to 10th place. And, of course, with that 10-second penalty provisionally, that's probably where he's going to stay. So no loss there, but still watching to see where James Lee ends up and if he'll get the white flag this time by.
Also, we have a 3-second post-race penalty for Cron. For a shortcut in the S's on lap 15. So he must have really cut across there. And Cron, now, is Eli close enough?
I don't think
no.
Wait, it's Laura Eli, so she might be close enough. We saw how low that front end got yesterday going into 12.
Okay, so they're coming through the last 2 turns, our leaders. Kind of curious what this is going to look like. What's the flag man going to show? Will it be 2 to go or will it be 1 to go? Is Cortez still working on Eli? There it is, coming to the line.
Oh, so he crossed right at 0 with no white flag. But we're showing on our timing screen that it's 1 to go. Okay. So race control is indeed calling it the white flag in spite of the flag not being shown. Okay.
So, yeah, they said, seem to have denoted that 0 was hit before he crossed the line. And Blake McDonald had cut that down just a little bit. Remember, it was as high as about 2.5 seconds. Now it's down to 1.6. But all James has to do is bring it home from here. Wood still leading on Walsh. And Eli Eli is starting to look kind of close there to that 3-second margin that we were talking about.
Yeah, so we'll see if Eli can get within that 3-second margin. Ooh. I'll tell you what, this has been an interesting race on a different front because we're starting to see the passes and now strategy come into play.
Now look at this.
Oh, wait a second. We've got a couple cars stopped in turn number 1. It's the 299 and the 209. So Eli beached herself.
Oh, no.
Oh.
Can she not get it going?
No, neither of them. They've got a trail of some sort of fluid there. I think that's going to end the race right there as the full course yellow comes out. Oh, and that's not good for the Black Sheep Racing crew as they've got to get that car ready for today's enduro race. So, ladies and gentlemen, we have field's frozen. James Lee is, as long as he crosses the line, he will be your winner.
Unofficially, James Lee should take the victory in this race. And interesting wreck there at the end. Yeah, that was a lot of fluid following behind them. I'm very curious what they could have done that much would be dumping out.
Yeah, and I just happened to look down. That was probably from the radiators?
That's the best I can think of, but why would it be on both of them? It'd be nose to tail usually.
Well, you know, at that point, you had Connolly, Cortez, and Eli all in a line there, so something happened there with the 203 and the 299 and 209.
Well, we come to the finish for our leader, James Lee. He is the sheriff in this town as Texas is going to see back-to-back for the 255 taking victory today.
Blake McDonald finishes second as we keep our eye on turn number 20, and that's where your Masters winner will be as we see the safety crew handling both drivers. No rush there, so that's always a good sign. Checker flag comes out. Kevin Woods is your Masters winner here at COTA.
Great job to Kevin, has really been on it this weekend. Jim getting another podium. I'm sure he's happy about that. It might be second, but French is going to get himself his second podium of the season as well. Cortez gets promoted up to 7th, but 4th in class. And Reinhold Kron was kind of saved by that incident because the yellow flag would have bunched him up to those behind, but the ones he needed to worry about was Laura.
And, of course, also another driver this really helps as we take a look at our timing screen here. We do know that Casey Dennis will have to serve that 10-second post-race penalty. Thomas Hacker is 24.3 seconds behind, so he will stay in 8th place.
I believe that is going to wrap us up for the Porsche Sprint Challenge USA West Series here at Circuit of the Americas. We've got more racing coming your way a little bit later today, though, as the Porsche Sprint Challenge North America Caymans will be on at 11:10 a.m. Central. That's 12:10 p.m. Eastern. I'm Joe Peak here with Jeremy Scott today. Race clean, race hard, and we'll see you on the track.